Okay, good morning all. Welcome to this webinar session on optimizing your business productivity with G Suite. My name is Kabiru Mohammed Aliu. I'm the founder for we are so blessed to have you all on call today, and we hope you have a productive discussion throughout this webinar. Again, welcome. So at this juncture, I'll be introducing the panelists so that we are all familiar with the people that we are going to be engaging today in this webinar. G Suite or Google Solution is a productivity suite that business can use to optimize and make sure that they are very productive. So we'll be engaging on this topic today, especially how it can benefit small and medium businesses. At this time that we are currently, you would understand that as a small business or as a medium business, you have to be able to use the relevant tool sets that would assist you with your business. So the learning space is the one bringing this event, this webinar, and it has been bringing series of webinars to ensure that we have conversations on technology and that we are quite, okay with the application of it. And also the panelists as well, they have been bringing various insights into the conversation. So the learning space is a capacity building center where it provides simulated types learning, especially in the areas of ICT. When you look at programming, you look at DevSecOps, you look at networking, security, cloud computing, just to mention a few. So if you are interested in taking any course, please contact the learning space. So just introducing the panelists today, we have Shane Godia Kezi. She's a small and medium businesses tech executive. So really, what she's interested in doing is making sure that she can bring value to small and medium businesses. And she has tons of experience, engaging in various businesses. So welcome, Godia. Now moving on to Onidamola Olaleka. She's the technical project director for Virtual Formatics. She has a passion for technology and very, very cross-skilled in terms of the application of technology. As you can also from her role as well, she has the ability to, cross-manage various technology projects. But Onidamola has a passion for security, networking, and also cloud computing with numerous certifications as well. Introducing Mr. Emmanuel Kolapo. Mr. Emmanuel Kolapo, in simple terms, is an educator. He has been around for a very long time and he has a lot of experience. But the one thing that makes him very unique is the fact that he loves technology and he has been exploring how technology can benefit the society, especially the young people and also his fellow colleagues in the education field. He is also the founder of Kolapi Consult. Now introducing the final panelist, which is Anebet Inamdi. Anebet Inamdi is the co-founder for Virtual Formatics. I like to refer to him as a deployment person, meaning that he prefers to be in front of the client. He also prefers to be solving, technological challenges or be at the center of solutions. So as you can see, the panelist members are filled with various and diverse experience for us to truly talk about the topic that we have today. So just I would like again at this juncture to just introduce everyone, basically to the concept of business productivity. Several OEMs bring business productivity to organizations, and it's very important that we focus on G Suite for today and to see the value that G Suite brings in itself. There are other productivity suites, like I've earlier mentioned. Again, my name is Kabiru Mohammed Aliu. If you are just joining, welcome. Please, at this juncture, I would also like to encourage everyone to begin to post their questions. We would take the questions immediately after we are done with the introductions. And also I'll be giving a very short demo of the Google G Suite solution, just for us to see the interface. It's better for us to see so that we can then understand how we can apply it to our various businesses or our individual business. Should in case you are thinking about starting up a business as well, we are also talking to you as well. And the learning space interest in this conversation really is to continue to bring knowledge, capacity to the ecosystem. So if you're also interested deeper into the solution, we could also offer some tailored-made courses for your organization or for you as an individual. So just to continue to talk about productivity, right? As you would agree with me that the market is changing, the way we are doing business is changing. Everything really is changing, and people are now at the center of really truly considering how technology can enable their businesses. Some of the guys that are on the ground that are doing even informal businesses, right, are beginning to consume technology, whether with or without them knowing it in itself. For instance, banks are implementing USSD. They are implementing some methodology for businesses to transact seamlessly. So we are all in one way or the other consuming technology. So we could either be the consumer of technology, or we could use technology to our own benefit as well, not just consuming it without us knowing. So the market is truly changing. The technology landscape as well is also changing, right? There are a lot of innovation that are coming up, especially the innovation that are being driven by solution, from a solution perspective. So the conversation is no longer what server are you using, what network are you using, what phone are you using, what computer are you using, what laptop are you using. I think the conversation is now changing to what is the value, what value can I get, right, out of technology. That's why you see your Uber coming up, or had come up, to come and say, well, you don't necessarily need to worry about transportation. Through an application, you can effectively commute, right? By you paying us a service, paying us for the service. And people prefer that because they don't want to go and start looking for, the vehicle, negotiating with the driver, and all that. They want to only worry about consuming technology. So that means the technology landscape is changing towards, or has already changed towards, a consumer-led push as against a technology-led push. So applications are now coming out to solve social and economical issues. And quite frankly, that is what the consumer is very interested in. The needs of the customers as well is also changing. So this is also something that we also need to look at, right? Because customers or consumers now have options of what to buy, where to buy from, even to question the value, and even get freemium services as well, which is free services. So, organizations are throwing lots of freemium services, to consumers as well. That means the consumers now are more enlightened, regardless of what sector or regardless of what exposure level the consumer is or the customer is at. So your customers are changing. So just looking at legacy, right? From a legacy perspective, when you continue to use the legacy methodology, then you have left your employees, or you have left you as an individual disengaged, right? Because people no longer spend tons and tons of time in trying to get work done. They want to get work done in the most simple and effective method. So if you consider some of these productivity tools, understanding them from a learning perspective, also understanding them from how it can enable your business, then you could turn your employees to become more engaged. So if you are thinking about starting your own businesses, or if you already have some businesses on the ground, then you have to be thinking, how do you make your employees do more, achieve more by working smarter, not necessarily harder, right? Also, individuals have ideas that are unable to be scaled if you are just focusing on, okay, I'm waiting for Mr. Mr. Shei, right, to come to work. When he comes to work, then only then do we start our accounting processes. That means because Mr. Shei has everything documented in his head and also documented maybe in his book or in an isolated computer somewhere. That means he has to come and start the process before anybody in the organization can engage on that process. That means you are dependent on that individual. Also, you don't need to spend much time in doing repetitive tasks. You can automate it, right? You can make it an automated process. So from a G Suite perspective, when you look at it, we can look at it in 3 pillars: communicate, collaborate, and then control, right? In as much as you want to allow for flexibility, right, you also want to have some methodology to be able to control. So I will show you, I'll show a bit on how you can achieve this control part from the G Suite administration panel. And the reason why I'm taking you there is that is how easy it is to actually administer your G Suite. But your G Suite for business is actually different, right, than your normal G Suite. Why is it different? Because your normal G Suite allows you to communicate, allows you to collaborate, but you might have less control, less control, because what the G Suite allows you to bring your organization, people, process, and technology all together so that you can manage it. But if you are using your individual Gmail, right, or G Suite, or Google solution, or Google productivity solution, then in that light, you are not necessarily, the control lies with each individual, right, within your organization or within your project or your group. But once you bring it into a G Suite type platform, then you know that you guys are now together. You can set up a policy and how you want your organization to run. So from a communicate perspective, you have your Gmail, like you guys are all aware, you have your calendar, you have your Google Meet, and you have your chats functions. You have all this in one place to allow you to effectively communicate. Now, to collaborate as well, you have a number of tool sets that you can use: your Docs, your Excel, your sites, all those stuff to be able to collaborate, your Drive, and all that. And I'm thinking that that the most effective way to collaborate is if you can control, right? You can control who is accessing what. You can also, what applications are you going to enable for your business to be able to collaborate effectively? So these are some of the functionalities or some of the things that it gives you. But from a learning perspective, right, you need to understand how these tool sets actually work so that you can effectively tweak it for your organization or for you as an individual, right? If you understand it, you are able to tweak it the way you want it to be. So moving on as well is that it also allows you for seamless integration. So with the G Suite, they have an open API that could connect to Microsoft, connect to SAP, Salesforce, just connect you to various applications that are out there that you want to use or you want to integrate with your business. Regardless of whether you are a small, medium, or large enterprises, the use case for G Suite is there because you could use it across small, medium, and large organizations. However, the individuals that are managing the platform needs to be enabled enough to be able to make sure that the application is effectively controlled, especially also from a security perspective. So these are some of the talking points around productivity, and just to cap it all, right? This productivity is deviceless, meaning that it is not dependent on you being in a particular location or with a particular device. You could use your mobile, you could travel all over the world, and you are still able to access your infrastructure or your productivity suite, which gives you power and control as a business to be able to effectively, even go on holidays or to have a effective work-life balance. So at this juncture, I would just like to go into a bit of a demo session before we start the panelist discussion. And I think you would agree with me that we would want to hear from the panelists their experience, how we can do all that. So at this juncture, just allow me to move us to the demo platform. Thank you very much. So just to continue to recap, especially for the guys that are just joining us now, welcome again. We have been talking about productivity and how businesses can evolve by understanding some of this methodology that can help business become very, very productive. So I would, I'm now moving now to a platform just to show you how the G Suite can actually help you or help organizations out from a productivity perspective, right? And from an organization perspective. So if you're just coming again, welcome. So with G Suite, right, you are able to manage users, meaning that as a small business or as a medium business or even as a large organization, you have what we would refer to as joiners to your organization, people that start working in that you have either employed or that are part of your team. So you need to be able to give them or create an account for them that is personalized, right, to your company domain. For instance, you would have a company called, for example, CMOC, right? Then your users would then be able to have, an account called Brendan, right, at cmoc.com. Or you could have Musa.Hassan at cmoc.com, right? Meaning that you are able to administer and give your users personalized emails that can then be used for business related communication. And also you can also implement governance as well on that, as against if they are using Musa.Hassan at gmail.com. So there's a difference there, right? There's a huge difference. You can also create groups. That means within your organization, you can communicate within groups, meaning that you can have a finance group so that any communication that you want to do, document that you want to share, you can share it within that group. You can have your executive management group to take decisions on how to move the company forward. And this is very, very important because why are we talking about this technology? We're talking about this technology in isolation to the fact that businesses have their primary objective, which is to make profit, right? So if that is their primary objective, now what you are looking at is how do you set up your organization to be productive so that you are able to deliver that value to your customers, and also to be able to make profit and certify your ecosystem. And you also have regulators, right? That means you have to be able to put policies in place that will help you make sure that you are in compliance to the relevant regulation of your business or your trade. Now, organizational unit, I'll go into organizational unit a bit so that you can see how, the practical application is. So imagine you have various departments. You have customer service department, human resource department, marketing department, operations department, and maybe an internal department. So you are able to create departments or organizational units so that when somebody is joining the organization, you can say, oh, okay, you are joining the organization and you are part of the sales or marketing department. Then I would create an account for you and I'll put you under the marketing department. So anything that the marketing department have access to, you also would have access to it. For instance, you have access to your Salesforce, you have access to your social media applications, you have access to the things that you need to do your business your work on a day-to-day basis. You have it from day one. So you don't need an administrator to be giving you this right, giving you that access. From day one. You have the access that you need, right? And you are in the right group, and then you can function effectively, within the organization. So you're able to create that, and you're able to manage your organizational unit. You can create as many organizational units that you like, right? As an example. Now, moving on to just to show another feature is this building and resources. I would like to talk about this just for a second, especially with this era of COVID-19, right, where people are now resuming back at work, right? But they are resuming either in a skeletal manner or in a social distancing type scenario where they are complying to all the regulations that the relevant health has advised or has made mandatory, right? One of such regulations could be that in a room, you should not be in a room more than 5 people or more than 4 people at a time. So you are able to use this kind of functionality called building and resources to manage your meeting rooms within your company, right? So that you can also effectively enforce, social distancing parameters within that. And I'll show you as an example. In this case, we have, we have 2 buildings currently. We have Godia room and we have innovation room. As you can see, the Godia room has 5 floors, right? And it's a meeting room, right? And probably let's look at what the room how many capacity, the room can accommodate. In this case, this room can accommodate 20 capacity, but you could decide to scale it down and say, well, since it's a 20 room capacity room, let's rather make it 10 so that this in the room, or we can even make it even 6, a 20 capacity boardroom, but you're now making it 6 so that it only accommodates 6 people. That means the person booking this meeting room or reserving this meeting room for the organization can only invite 6 people to that meeting, right? Because the capacity of that room is 6, right? So these are some of the functionalities that we need to take cognizance of from this perspective, right? In terms of how we manage our resources. We can create buildings. Let's say, for example, you have up to 20 buildings within the organization scattered in Abuja, one in Ghana, another one in South Africa, Botswana, you have some in Lagos. You could actually create your resources and manage your resources accordingly so that your people within the organization can have access to these resources to become more productive, right? So we are still on the point of productivity. So these are some of the initiatives or some of the things that you have at your disposal to ensure that you remain as productive as possible. Moving on to devices, you are able to manage different types of devices, mobile devices. So this is also very important from a compliance perspective, right? You want to be able to manage the devices that are connected to your organization, right? You want to be able to manage your mobile devices so that once your corporate data is on that device and your employees' mobile phone is stolen, from the control panel, you are able to then wipe company-related data out of that phone, right? If it is a company-owned phone, you can wipe all the data, right? But if it's a personal phone, you will probably just wipe, the information that are related to the organization. So you could see that more power, more control is now in your hands when you go for the paid version of the G Suite productivity suite, right? So now, just moving on to another functionality, which is which I would like to talk to you about. It's your applications, right? Like I earlier mentioned, you could organize all your company applications into core applications. Core meaning that all the applications that your employee or individuals need to have access to, they become your core applications. You could also go to the marketplace as well to get more applications, from the bouquet of applications that are available. And then you can then say this application can then be available to only some members of the organization. So you could go further to see which organization can access this. In this case, it is on for everyone. But I can do and say, let it be specifically available, off for everyone. And then I will then specifically assign that application to the people that requires that services. So you could go as granular as that, as giving various applications to the business unit that needs those applications. In this case, let's say, for example, the human resource department need an access to this productivity suite. Because it is on for everyone, we can then, because it is off for everyone, we can then come here and then say, we're going to on it. We're going to put it on just for the marketing, for the human resource department. So it gives you a lot of options to be able to manage your application. I understand that we would continue to bring you this webinar so that we can continue to go into some of these advantages of this productivity suite and what it can actually offer you. And it is very, very important that we understand that as a business, we can actually give ourselves more, we can actually put ourselves in control more and more. You could have access to reporting, so you could see what is happening from a reporting perspective, right? In terms of what is happening, how is your accounts being accessed? What enforcement are there within your organization? Whether they are compliance to password length compliance. You could literally go through a number of reporting capabilities, right, to tell you exactly, for example, within this organization now, this demo organization, they have sent 36 email and they have received 36 email and they have sent 4 emails, right? So you could see exactly what is happening from an overview perspective. What is happening? Are people using email more than other applications? What are they actually doing within your environment? So you can see all this quite easily, right? So, I mean, this gives you a lot of control. But like we are saying, right, it is important that you take some time to study some of these solutions before you implement, because you could take courses, right, to help you just understand basic administration of this solution, so that you can effectively maximize the benefits it can actually bring to your organization. So at this juncture, I would now start moving, to the panelist discussion, so that we can go and get some experiences in terms of, what, some of these things, some of these productivity tools mean to us. Also, at this juncture as well, we're going to be taking Q&A. So perhaps we'll mix it around. We'll take some Q&A from the audience, and we'll take some. We'll continue to engage with the panelist members, so that at least we can keep the conversation as fluid as possible. So, guys, just beginning to prepare, to move on to the panelist discussion and to the Q&A. Please keep your questions coming. We will try and deal with as many questions as we possibly can. To summarize again, before we move into the panelist discussion, is that we are talking about productivity suite for small and medium businesses, how it can benefit you, and how you can actually effectively use it for your organization. We went through a bit of demo just to show you some of the things that you can do from a back-end perspective on the G Suite paid version, right? And then now we are moving now to the panelist discussion and the Q&A. I would like to leave you, not leave you, but just reiterate this philosophy, which is in learning you will teach, and in teaching you will learn. So the learning space is constantly bringing you this bites of webinar to enable us be able to make decisions now or in the future as it is required. So moving into the panelist discussion and Q&A at this point, I would first of all start up with Mr. Kolapo, if you are there, just to touch on the point around, from your perspective, right? From your perspective, what can you tell us about the productivity suite that G Suite is bringing? Also, you can feel free to compare it with other productivity suite that you are also accustomed to. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Mohammed. I guess you can hear me from there. All right?
Yes, I can hear you very clearly, and I believe the audience can hear you as well. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much for having me. Yes, when you talk about business is when you offer products and services for the benefit of mankind. So from your side as a business person, the other side, the customer. As you have rightly said about me, I offer business on the services side, educational services. And I've used Google product for a long time. You and I know that. And you have rightly said something that's very key. It's for communication, for collaboration, and for control. I quite agree with that. When you do service provision, you need to do a lot of communication among members of your immediate organization and to your customer. For example, you need to advertise, you need to get feedback, you need to have referrals, you need to have customization, because when you are doing something, your customers want it to be done such a way different from what you have in mind, and you want to remain in business, you have to shift to them. And at the same time, you need to have automation, because there are some things that are done in a recurrent way that you don't have to be doing all the time, that you can allow technology to do for you. So in that case, you need robust communication that I think this tool or these suits can do for you. The second one is about collaboration. When you go into business and you service people or you push products out to people, your members of your organization have to brainstorm, especially this time around that you cannot really go freely to your workplace or to your offices. Therefore, you should be able to sit back where you are and you'll be able to have a brainstorm. You have to brainstorm on different things. So collaboration, this technology will be able to help a lot about collaboration. And the main thing there is about control, because you need to control some people, how access is given. You need to control access, who does what, who can do this, who cannot do this. I think I have to pause here so for the other people to contribute. Thank you very much.
So the rest of the panelist member, I don't know if you have anything to add to what Mr. Kolapo has just, expanded on.
Okay, thank you very much, Mohammed. Thank you everyone for joining. So in addition to what Mr. Kolapo has said as advantage of G Suite, I would like to talk about security because for me, I'm a security person, and considering what is going on, we all need to be security conscious. And with Google G Suite, you can be rest assured that your data and your everything within your organization is well secured. So talking about Google G Suite, you have so many security levels. You have the administrative level, you have the endpoint level. So talking about the admin, just like Mr. Kolapo has already said, you can use the integrated cloud identity features. So we know that other vendors use two-step verification and all of that. But in addition to that, Google also has the security key that helps to protect the organization with security analytics. So you can analyze your security, you can see how well you're doing with security, just as Mohammed rightly mentioned. And it also gives you recommendations on best practices. Another thing that Google G Suite does is that it has built-in spam, virus, and malware detection, which helps to scan all documents and attachments so that you are assured that you don't have to worry about spam and viruses and all of that because Google is the when it comes to security, we all know that Google is actually the grandmaster. So it also has data loss prevention policy. It also helps with data leak protection, which I don't think any other vendor has. This data leak protection features helps you to set keywords so that when anyone is trying to leak anything that belongs to your organization outside, those particular keywords that you set, once it notices that you have this particular set of keywords in the mail that is going out or the file that is going out, it blocks it. It blocks outgoing communication, which is a very, very good tool. On the endpoint side also, you can give access to what application your users, your people within your organization can do so that untrusted applications are not brought into the infrastructure. So you can block what a user applications that a user can have access to. You can block what a user can do. You can block from the mobile devices and from the desktop. So it's a very, very good when it comes to security. Good, Google is very good. So also, apart from the two-step verification that I mentioned earlier, you also have the physical security key, which is built into both your Android and iPhone devices. So when you have an Android device that has OS of 7.0 plus and an iPhone that has iOS of 10.0 plus, you are assured that you have your physical security key that is input into that with an additional free Google Smart Lock application, so that anytime that you lose access to your account, or your security key, advanced protection helps you to use extra steps to verify your identity so that it knows that, okay, this particular person is the one that actually lost his or her account, not an hacker or someone trying to change the login details of a user. So when it comes to security, Google is very, very, very good. It gives you advanced insight. So let me just allow others to give their own contributions.
Yes, yes. Thank you very much, Oyedamola. Thank you very much, Mr. Kolapo, for that. I think I will now be moving slowly now to Godia. So Godia, I think my question really is from a small and medium business perspective, just from your own experience, how do you think that this productivity suite could be of value to small and medium businesses? And if, from your experience, you can just give us, a practical, view. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mohammed, and good morning, everyone. Now, the main aim of a business is to maximize productivity, and we see that the times have changed, and we have to move with the times. Now, there are certain ways you do business before, it has to change now. You have to do more with online things and to move your business forward. Now, how can you do it? How can you achieve that with Google solutions? Now, for instance, your company, you would want to minimize clash within your staff or among your colleagues. How do you do that? Now, with what Mohammed talked about earlier, he was talking about buildings and then resources. Now, there are different things that are shared among colleagues in an organization, say a car, say projector, say different things, recreational equipment are shared within among employees or colleagues in an organization. Now, there are certain times that you want to use a particular thing and somebody wants to use it too. But with the use of the calendar, you schedule your events, you schedule your meetings, you schedule everything you want to do, like the use of, say, a projector. Let's say employee A wants to use a particular projector at 11 o'clock, and employee B wants to use it at 11 o'clock. Now, you can work on the calendar and fix time for it. Say if employee B wants to use it and he comes to the calendar and sees that employee A has already used it or it's being used at that time, he seeks for another time. So it reduces clash. Okay, that's that for like the projector. And again, you help to have a good image with your clients in the aspect of emails. For instance, you could customize your email in a way that you look very professional and you don't look like a fraudster, and that is really important. People should be able to trust you. People should be able to trust your business. People should be able to trust your staff to be able to do business with you. Say, for instance, you with our solution, with the Google solution, if you customize your email, let's say your staff is named Titi and your company is Trailblazer. Okay, you could customize it as tt@trailblazer.com, or you say Mohammed at Trailblazer, so they are sure that this thing is really secure. They want to do business with you. Okay, and of course it helps your business grow. And then it basically you get to do your work easier. It helps your work more efficient. Okay, and then you could share say, for instance, you're working on a particular thing and then you have to move, you save time. You have to move to one office and go take it, let the person work on it. And then from there, you move to another office. With the Google solution, it has really helped to save time because all you do is just share with the person online. I guess I would pause here for others to continue. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Godia, for that. That's fantastic. Just to get a practical application of this productivity suite. Like we say, there are a number of productivity suites. So there's a question that I want to direct towards Anebet. Is really around. It's really around what they call it, data sovereignty or sovereignty. As it regards to government, where data is stored, right? So, I mean, what is your view here on data localization, especially if you are using the G Suite platform? And can you just talk a little bit on that?
Hi, good morning, everyone. As regards data sovereignty and data localization, Google has invested a whole lot in setting up infrastructures in different regions around the globe. So depending on where you are, and also when you are launching your infrastructure, you are able to choose the particular region that is closest to you, so that your data and your emails are stored closer to where you are. And also in terms of compliance, and so depending on which sector you are in, there are compliance regulatories or compliance setups that are inbuilt into Google system. As in, you're trying to comply with ISO 27000 or any of those standards. There are certain security settings in there that enables you to comply with those standards. Let's say files are not allowed to be shared using the USB port and stuff like that. There are settings that you can do to lock up some certain things if you allow the MDM, that is the mobile device management on the device. So the administrator is able to set up those controls as Wingamola mentioned earlier on. So yeah, the administrator is able to control that using the MDM, and also data you can you can select a region where your data is stored with the Google infrastructure. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Anebet. Thank you for that explanation. And I think that this is a very important question that has come from the audience around data sovereignty and data localization as it regards to government requirements. You got to look at your organization. Just to add to that, you got to look at your organization and your requirement to be able to make that decision. For instance, you could look at your policies, right, around how you configure your back end to see whether you can meet up with the regulations. You could look at how you could access how people are accessing the data, where they're accessing it from. You could do a lot of things, at the back end, but I think you need to look at your business requirement or your business rules, and then from there you can then see whether the application can help you, be in compliance. I know that various governments are looking at ways to accommodate various businesses, especially businesses that are local or businesses that have also branched out from Nigeria or from Africa or across the world. So it's a very important topic that I think that is something that is worthy of discussion. Mr. Kolapo, I'm not sure. Can you just add to this growing concern around data localization? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm not a core IT person, but I'm going to try. Yes, it's very good for people to have access to their data because, as that lady said, I've forgotten her name now, the data should be reliable and it should be secured. So if you put something somewhere and you need it at the speed of light, you should be able to get it without it not being tampered with. There was a time I was thinking about putting something on our server in our organ. And I remember then when Mr. Mohammed was telling me about putting something in cloud, and I was in between the two decisions that, what if I need this at a particular time and I can't get it? Then that takes us to access via the internet. And the internet in Nigeria is some kind. If you can't connect to your data very easily, it's going to be a problem. So I feel accessibility to data when needed is very important, and connecting to it is also very important. So in Nigeria, we have to do a bit more about how to improve an internet so that we'll be able to get to our online data. I mean the one in cloud. I don't know if I'm answering your question anyway.
Thank you. So thank you very much, Mr. Kolapo. I think the most important thing in the conversation is that we are having the conversation. Sorry for me repeating myself, but the conversation is continuous one, and it's one that we'll continue to engage for some time, especially as some of these policies are enforced, more and more to various organizations. But the truth there is that, from my perspective, is that really the data and localization concern can be checkmate if you have strong policies in place, especially policies that has to do with ISO 27001, which is your information security. You have business continuity type policies in place. All those policies will help still make your security or your data security quite strong and in accordance as well to international standards. So I will now be moving now to another question, which will go to Oyindamola. So the question is that how quickly is it to deploy, or how quickly is it to deploy G Suite or G Suite productivity within an organization? Thank you.
Thank you very much for that question. As you all know that Google G Suite is a cloud productivity suite, so meaning that we deployment is easier and faster compared to having an on-prem deployment. So the most important thing is knowing what your organization needs, knowing the license that works for your organization. So once we are able to decide that, then deployment is as easy as ABC. Thank you.
This question is for Godia. I just want to just get your perspective. How is G Suite different from your normal Gmail or the normal free Gmail? Thank you.
Thank you very much for that question. It is different in the terms that it is more secure. Now, when you're logging into Gmail, it asks for verification like 2 times, like 2-step verification, and then you how do I put it? You can from your Gmail, you can navigate
Okay, hi Godia, are you there?
I think he's having some.
Okay, so while she's coming back, I think I would just like Annabeth to continue, and then as soon as Godia comes back, we'll hand over back. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mohammed. So, how is G Suite different from the rest of traditional email? So, depending on what your budget is, so G Suite offers you the business class emails, which is, as Godia mentioned earlier, let's say city@yourcompany.com.
Okay.
And the other emailing services might not give you the security that G Suite gives you, like the spam filtering, the spoofing, and all other security features that G Suite is going to give you. And then also we look at offline. Most of these other applications, most of these other web hosting companies do not have the uptime that Google has. Google has invested a whole lot in making sure that you have 99.9% uptime with your infrastructure. Not that maybe someone is trying to access, you are trying to access the email and then you are not getting it. So from that angle, G Suite is preferable. And also, I spoke about budget. There are different plans for different organizations or different use cases. And also, you also get for the basic plan, you also get 30 gigabytes for your emailing. So you won't have to complain about your email getting filled up. And even if it does, there's archiving also that you can also look at. I thank you, Mohammed.
Okay, just continuing with you, Annabeth. There's a question that I want to ask here, which is, what about working offline? Which tools are still accessible if you don't have connectivity?
Okay, thank you for that. So the Google G Suite has a feature that's called offline working. Let's say, take for instance, you're working on a particular document that is synced to your OneDrive and then it's stored on your fast client, meaning your computer. If you turn on offline working, what it does is that it provides you with an offline version of that particular document, and you can continue to work on your system from your system rather when there's no internet connection. And then once you get back your connection, it automatically syncs that file back to your OneDrive. So yes, offline working is supported as well. So thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that. I don't know if any of the panelist member has any comments to that particular question before we move on. Thank you.
Hello, Mohammed.
Okay, go ahead, Godia. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, as I was saying about the Gmail before I went off, I wanted to say that your email is secured and you are free of spams because when a spam comes in, it is directed to your spam folder. Okay, the system detects it and is directed to your spam folder. And basically, work gets done faster. You can work from anywhere. You can log in anywhere and work. You don't have to go to the office to work. And it's browser based. Okay, and like the calendar reminds you before an event and all that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Godia, for that. Thank you. So just as a general questions, you know, I think we have mixed a few questions from the audience. We have just had a bit of a discussion around productivity. So I'll just go around the room, around the online or virtual room, just to ask a very high level question, which is the advice that you give to businesses as they consider implementing or as they consider, upgrading or implementing technology within their organization. So I would like to start with Onidamola. So if you can just respond to this question, and then I will take the rest of the response from the panelist member. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Mohammed. Well, I would like to say that to make work easier and faster, then using productivity suite is actually the best way for businesses to move forward, because you actually get to save a whole lot of money moving your businesses to the cloud. You don't have to worry about licenses. You don't have to worry about installation or running your IT department. Everything is automated, so it makes life easier, and you don't have to worry about the pricing, because you for G Suite you have as low as $5 per user per month. So it's affordable, it's easy to use, it's easy to implement, and it's very good. It makes life easier. It makes what gets your client faster, and you can start with the cheap one, which gives you access to everything that you need to start your business upfront. So as your business grows, then you can decide to expand, you can upgrade your business. So you don't have to start from the top. You can always start from the bottom and grow and expand your productivity as your business grows. Thank you very much.
Mr. Kolapo, I don't know if you can just give an advice purely from your experience and from what has worked and not worked for you when you were considering any technology, regardless of what it is. So thank you.
All right. I think from my perspective, any technology anybody deploys in this our organization, there must be a way of collaborating together. That's key. And the second thing I consider to be very important, that there must be a robust security, because you don't want your data to get into the hand of another person. So you must be able to collaborate, and you must allow all your information and data to be secure. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Godia, please give your feedback. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would say that if not for anything, emailing has become easier. For instance, like in the grouping, when you have grouped your staff into particular groups, emailing is easier. Instead of picking them one after the other, you just send an email as a bulk to a group. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Godia, for that. I think your advice really is to capitalize on the productivity suite, especially the email functionality, so that they can collaborate quite effectively and also professionally as well. So I believe that I'm still left to get some feedback from Aniebet. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mohammed. I would just like to add that the good thing about any technology when deploying in your organization is ease of use. there's no point deploying a solution that your staffs and even your end users and your clients will find it difficult to use. So as regards, as I said earlier, any technology is easy to use. It should be self-explanatory. And you all will agree that Google emailing has been very, very simple. It has that cool feel, not too cumbersome, no too much technicalities involved in just getting things done. So ease of use, I would say it's very important. And I believe most of these solutions are easy to use, and even that there are free trainings all over the web that you can learn how to use any of these tools. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, panelists. We really thank you for your time. There are some questions that are coming in. So maybe some of those questions we'll answer on a one-on-one. However, I would like to take this one though, which is, will it be possible to access staff mails when the staff is no longer in the organization, especially to keep the clients up to date? So I think the answer is yes, yes to that, because once the organization, once the staff is leaving the organization, you can decommission them and migrate their email to the person that is going to be taking over from them. That way, once the client sends an email, they would still be able to receive that email and respond to it. There are several ways to configure that. We can go into that when we are doing, if you come in for a training or you want us to actually help you out with your deployment. There are various ways to set it up, just to make sure that you do not lose the communication from your client. Questions are still coming on around how to assign tasks, team monitoring, project management. So I think the two, if I understand that question correctly, the two that works best can be found on the marketplace. There are a number of productivity suites that you can get from the G Suite marketplace, be it project management, finance, accounting, all that. But you probably need to look for the one that is suitable for your business and then install it as part of your G Suite offering. So we would continue to bring you this webinar and this series. We thank you for your time. We really appreciate your time on this call and the questions that you have been asking. We hope that you have found it useful. The discussion is never ending. It's something that it will remain continuous. But feel free to contact us. Feel free to engage with us through our email address that is on display, so that we can continue to see how to foster our collaborations and our engagement, especially as we decide to look at technology. Again, my name is Kabiru Muhammad Aliyu. I thank you all for your time. Cheers. Thank you.